let's be real, we are living through a massive shift in how we learn, how we work, how we research. The promise of AI is absolutely here, but you know what? So is all the noise. So how do you find the right tools, the ones that are actually going to make you smarter, not just faster? Well, in this explainer, we're going to give you a clear map to navigate this whole new world. So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll tackle the problem that I think we all face, information overload. It's real. Then we're going to meet our new AI assistants, and I'll give you a super simple framework to understand them. From there, we'll figure out which one you actually need, cover some really crucial words of caution, and wrap it all up with the golden rule. Supercharge your brain. Don't try to replace it. All right, let's kick things off with a feeling I am sure you know all too well. It's this feeling, right? That little bit of panic when you look at the 50 browser tabs you have open, the folder full of PDFs you swear you're going to read someday. It's this constant pressure to keep up, and honestly, it's exhausting. And look, you're not alone in feeling this way. This is exactly why these new AI tools are just popping up everywhere. They're promising us a lifeline. I mean, think about it. For a student staring down a 50-page paper, or a professional trying to keep up with industry news, these apps can save you hours of reading. They're quickly going from a nice-to-have to an absolutely essential part of the modern toolkit. So with that problem in mind, let's meet the team. And I want you to think of these not just as apps, but as specialized assistants, each ready to help you out in their own way.
But here's the thing. Solving one problem often creates another. The second you go looking for an AI summarizer, you are just hit with this wall of names, Scholarcy, Elicit, Perplexity, all of them claiming to be the best thing since sliced bread. It is so easy to get overwhelmed before you even start. So how do we make sense of it all?
We need a map. And this is probably the simplest, most effective one I've come across. We can group pretty much every tool out there into one of three buckets, or archetypes. You've got the speed readers, who get you the gist fast. You've got the deep-dive analysts, who do the heavy lifting for you. And you have the academic librarians, who make sure your sources are absolutely rock solid. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. When we start matching these different assistants to the specific job you need to get done, this is how you find the right tool for you. First up, the speed readers. Their one job, their whole reason for existing is to save you time. That's it. They take long-form content, articles, dense reports, even hour-long videos, and they just boil them down to the core points. This is your first line of defense against that feeling of drowning in information. So let's look at a few. For instance, got a 2-hour lecture you need to get through on YouTube? A tool like Eightify will give you a time-stamped summary, so you can literally jump to the exact parts that matter to you. Reading a news article or a long blog post? TLDR This gives you the key takeaways with just one click. And for those super dense academic papers, Scholarcy is just brilliant. It doesn't just summarize, it actually breaks the paper into sections like methods and findings, which makes it so much easier to digest. Okay, let's level up to our next archetype. And this is where things start to get really, really powerful. The Deep-Dive Analysts. Now, these aren't just summarizers. These are basically autonomous research agents. You can give them a complex question, and they go to work like a junior analyst, scouring the web, pulling information together, and compiling a whole structured report for you. And the two heavyweights in this space right now are OpenAI and Google. ChatGPT's deep research feature, for example, is like delegating a task. You give it a topic, and it can spend up to half an hour browsing and reasoning before it comes back with a full report. Google's AI overviews work in a similar way, creating a research plan and then executing it to build out a big report you can send right over to Google Docs. Both of these are designed to turn what used to be days of work into just minutes. And finally, we have the academic librarians. This category is so important. When you absolutely positively have to know your information is credible and based on real evidence, these are the tools you turn to. They are basically search engines that only look at peer-reviewed scholarly stuff. No blogs, no news sites, no random opinions, just the research. So who are the key players here? Well, Consensus is fantastic for getting straight answers based on what the scientific community agrees on. Elicit does this amazing thing where it creates a literature matrix, so you can compare key bits of info from a dozen papers all at once. And then there's Scite, which has a total killer feature. It shows you how a paper was cited. Was it supported by other research? Was it contrasted? That's a whole new layer of context. And this quote just says it all, really. It perfectly captures the value of these librarian tools. They are a walled garden of credible information. In an age where misinformation is everywhere, having a tool that guarantees you're only searching through validated research, well, that's a superpower. Okay, so these tools sound amazing, right? And they are. But we need to have a serious talk. Because with all this power comes some pretty big responsibility, and there are some major pitfalls you have got to be aware of. So the big question is, can you just blindly trust what these things spit out? The short answer, absolutely not. Not even close. Just because an AI can generate a perfect-looking paragraph with real-looking citations, that is not the whole story. Here's the reality check. On one hand, you get the promise of instant analysis. But on the other, there's the peril of inaccuracy. You get the promise of real linked citations, but the peril is something called source mismatch, where it cites a real paper that doesn't actually say what the AI claims it does. And maybe the biggest trade-off of all, the huge time savings could come at the cost of genuine critical analysis, the kind that, for now, only a human mind can do. And this isn't just speculation. Actual academic evaluations have found some really concerning patterns. For example, a tool might read a vague sentence in an abstract and present it as a hard fact. The summaries often tell you what a paper found, but they fail to critically analyze how they found it. And in the worst cases, as one study found, an AI might just copy text word for word from a source, putting you at serious risk of unintentional plagiarism. Yikes. So what do? Do we just throw these tools away? No way. That's not the answer. The answer is, we learn to use them wisely. Here is the most important takeaway of this whole explainer. The goal is not to find one single perfect AI that will do all your thinking for you. The real goal is to build a personal toolkit of these assistants, a speed reader for quick scans, a librarian for deep research, and to always approach what they give you with a critical human eye. So let's make it super simple. Just remember this 3-step rule. First, match. Match the right assistant to the task at hand. Don't use a speed reader for your doctoral thesis. Second, verify. If an AI gives you a cool fact with a citation, click the link, read the original, always. And third, analyze. This is where you come in. The AI provides the raw material, you provide the insight, the connections, the expertise, the critical thinking that a machine just can't replicate. So think of it this way. You haven't been replaced, you've been upgraded. You now have a powerful co-pilot that can handle all the grunt work of research at lightning speed. The real question now is, with all that newfound brain power, where are you going to direct it? What problems will you solve? That right there is the real revolution.